Flosstube! My name is Marty and welcome to my channel Triple M Stitching. Today is Monday, November 1st. Happy November! And I'm so glad you chose to spend some time with me today. Today's video will include a little bit of life update at the beginning. I'm going to talk about the works in progress I have worked on since I last spoke to you a little over a week ago. And then I'm going to show just a couple new stash acquisitions. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about a potential no new starts challenge for a period of time in the beginning of the new year. And that is, a summary of what you can expect from this video. It has been a pretty good week. My husband and I got to get out into the beautiful fall weather a little bit. We took a little scenic train ride through Maryland last weekend. We saw Hassan Minhaj at the Kennedy Center. If you've seen his Netflix show, we really enjoy his show. And I'm taking a pottery class here at the University of Maryland. It's not for credit, it's just for fun through the Student Art Center. But I'll have my second class tonight, and it's a hand building introduction class. And I had taken one or two pottery classes before. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my other videos, but over the summer my husband and I have taken a few at a retreat center we were at, but this one will be 8 weeks. And last week we made a pinch pot, and I had to start mine over because it got really weird. But I think this class tonight we are working on a berry strainer, so like a square bowl that has cutouts that you can wash off fruit in. And then I think in the coming classes we're going to work on, you can either choose to do a teapot and teacups or a water pitcher and little water glasses. So I'm excited to see how that goes. And I don't think have a lot of natural pottery talent, but I really enjoy the class so far. And I think next semester they're offering a hybrid hand building and wheel spinning, if that's the term, class. And I might take that if this one goes well. So that's kind of what's been going on in life here in the frat house. I think, I mentioned in all my videos that my husband and I live in a fraternity house because we're graduate students and it's free and it pays us money and we get to live here and go to school for free. So it's an amazing blessing, but kind of an adventure. They're replacing the hallway flooring right now. So if you hear a occasional whirring, they're sanding something, I don't know. But that's enough talk about me and my life. Let's talk about some works in progress. When I spoke to you last, I had just finished up working on my start of His Name is Jesus by Joyful Expressions, and I decided that after I got to a stopping place on that one, basically I ran out of room in the hoop, I decided to go ahead and work on my Away in a Manger piece by Doreen Jones because I wanted to accomplish the goal I had set to do one of those nativity figures a month. Let me pull up the cover photo. Here's the cover photo for this piece. I had been working on doing one a month for several months now. I'll show you what I have so far. I keep this in a super fun project bag from Goose Design on Etsy. So I have all the fabric kind of pre-cut in here for them, and I'll show you what I have had done before. So the first month I started this, I worked on Mary and baby Jesus. And then I did Joseph, so she wouldn't be lonely. And then I did the angel. And then this month, I think the day I filmed my last video afterwards I started this, I did the first wise man. So these are stitched all on 16 count, Charles Craft Light Fiddler's Ada. So you can see it's kind of speckled, but it was called for on white, but I really don't like stitching white on white, and several of them have a lot of white in them, and I wanted that to pop. It is backstitched, but I wanted it to pop a little more, and I get bored and confused stitching white on white. So I went for this Ada, and I have 2 more pieces left and 3 more little figures to do, so I need to buy another roll of this. So that is what I worked on for a couple of days. I think I'll talk about it more in plans, but I don't think I'm going to set a goal to do one in November just because of some other goals I want to do, but I do love this WIP a whole lot. And then after that, I decided to go ahead and get the most recent Cozy Cafe piece stitched up so that in November I wouldn't necessarily have to work on one, because I am going to stitch a gift in November, which is my next new start, and I didn't want to make so many goals that I felt like I couldn't do any of it and I didn't have any wiggle room. So I decided to go ahead and get the Cozy Cafe done a month. I mean, it was like the last part of the month, but I don't have to do it in November now, so I will go ahead and show you this month's. It is this super cute pumpkin spice latte in a little fox mug. Here's the whole piece. I love this. I have caught up. I think I have caught up every month, which I am super excited about. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that, but they are all super cute. I love this apple cider one. That one's super fun. I believe I think when they announced the stitch along, they did a preview of one of the drinks, and that one hasn't been included on this yet, so I think I know what one of the drinks will be, and then I think next month's will be a total mystery. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see all of this put together. I do need to stitch down here in this little blank space. It's supposed to be the words established 2021, and it's in DMC 844, I think, and I lost my bobbin of it. No idea where it is. Bought a replacement skein at Michael's and then lost that. I don't usually lose stuff. I don't know what happened, but I will need to track one of those, either the lost bobbin or the lost skein of that color down before I can finish that part. And then all the beads will happen at the end. I haven't added any of the beads yet. I do have them all in the cute little Cozy Cafe bag that they released with the pattern. I have the threads and the beads came in little baggies with them. So I have beaded before and I do enjoy it. So I've never beaded on a piece this big before though. It was generally on little mill hills. Random times living on a college campus, I'm sitting in front of a window and a random fraternity brother just ran by carrying a pressure cooker, like a crock pot, Instapot thing, just sprinting by. So I don't know what kind of emergency that was, but he was going somewhere fast. Anyway, after I finished that, I was kind of unsure what to do. The next part for my Doreen Jones Christmas Tweetings Wreath Stitch Along has come out, and so I thought about starting that, but then I remembered I had a gift I wanted to stitch for one of my amazing friends, and I wanted to get that going and at least have the start, because for me starting is the hardest part. I think, Kirsten was talking about this on her channel, 23 Flavors of Stitching, that kitting up is the most fun part, and I agree with that, and starting is not my favorite part. I enjoy having new WIPs added and getting them done, but I like to have it once I get 2 days in on a project, that's a good spot. The first couple days of centering it and making sure it's aligned right and getting those first couple crucially counted parts in is not my favorite part. But I wanted to get that out of the way with this piece so I would make sure that I had it done in time for Christmas, because it will be a Christmas gift. I couldn't find a name. I think it's just called Nintendo Switch maybe. It's by the Needle and Floss. I'll show you a picture. And then, so here is the cover photo, and that's the name of the designer, the Needle and Floss. But it is kind of like a Quakery geometric, kind of looks like a Christmas sweater design of the controllers for the Nintendo Switch video game console. And I have a friend who loves her Switch and has gotten me into a lot of games on our Switch that I wouldn't have known about if she hadn't told me about. And so I saw this on, I think it was on someone's Flosstube, and decided to make it for her. And I'm going to switch up the colors a little bit that kind of suit her taste more. She loves like blues and teals and greens. And so I'm using 2 colors of DMC. And then I'll use the called for grays for like the cords and the wires and stuff. And but the blue part and the red part will be these 2 colors. So hopefully that turns out well. I have started it last night. My pile of things is falling. It is on a 32 count oyster even weave from MCG Textiles. That was from a fun stitchy friend that I'll talk about in Stash Acquisitions, but here's my start. I just got like one side down of one of the controllers and started a little bit putting in the like gray buttons. These are supposed to be like, whoa, like buttons on the controller. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I think, I don't know. I don't know how long it will take really. I want to say it'll be fast because I would love it to go fast, but who knows? I think it'll be a lot of fun to stitch. The pattern was fun to kind of go down the pattern and learn it and everything. So that will be a gift. My goal for November is to get 4 days on it, and then at the end of the month see where I am, and then I can decide what my goal for December will be. This, I am stitching it in a hoop from, I'm going to say it 2 ways because I really don't know how to say it. Either Nerge or Nerga. I think is probably a better better-ish German pronunciation. There's kind of the logo and the spelling. I heard about these from Rika from House of Stitch and Stash. She uses them, and you like tighten them with a screwdriver. I don't know if you can see that. Excuse me. You tighten it with a screwdriver, so the tension is like really good, and I do enjoy that. So I found this on Amazon, and I know they have ones that this wooden part is thicker, so it's like a thicker hoop, but this is the one I got, and I believe mine is 7 inches, but that could be wrong. It's about 7 inches. So yeah, that is those are all of the projects I have worked on since I last spoke to you. I hope to continue working on the Nintendo Switch tonight, and then tomorrow I plan on starting my Christmas wreath stitch along. Those usually take me between like 3 or 4 days, so I think I can finish that up by the end of the week. We'll see. I do have some schoolwork to do, and my husband and I got our COVID booster shots today, so depending on how I feel tomorrow will kind of dictate how much stitching I get done. But I did want to talk next about plans, as I kind of already am. I've shown this before, but I use a bullet journal to plan my stitching. It's like a hybrid of planning and just keeping track. This was what I had for October. It's all filled out. I had a lot of stitch-alongs starting in October, so I kept track of those here. And then my other goals were to do a cozy cafe section and one figure from Away in a Manger, and I kept those here at the bottom. And then on the day, individual days, I just wrote what I worked on. If the box has like a square, that is a new start. And then when I finish something, I'll highlight the words, but I didn't finish anything in October. It was a lot of starts and stitch-alongs. But yeah, this is kind of how I plan, and that's October all finished. And so I did go ahead and draw out November. I haven't put anything in today. I went ahead and checked off Cozy Cafe because I finished the part I would have worked on in November. And then I tried to write the dates for my stitch-alongs here on the side, but they're all kind of messed up. The goal basically is to just do all the parts of the stitch-along as they come out. But yeah, that is kind of how I plan. I will probably soon here go ahead and draw out December just because I know this time of year gets really busy and I want to make sure it's there in case I like get wild wildly busy with school and stuff and don't have time to draw it out. I was watching Stitches by Shelby. Stitches with Shelby? Now I'm having a crisis. I don't know. Stitches with Shelby, I think. And she was talking about how she was watching somebody, and they were talking about a no new starts for 90 days in 2022, like the first 90 days of 2022. And I believe she mentioned some other people who were talking about it, but I don't want to misquote her. And that idea has really stuck with me, and so I wanted to kind of lay out some of those plans in this video, just to kind of talk them out with myself and with you, and see how it feels. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say I want to dive into the no new starts challenge and not start anything for those 90 days. I don't have a terribly crazy, I mean, it's all relative, I don't have a terribly large amount of WIPS, but I do have enough that are like close enough to a finish that like I just kind of want to do it, and not letting myself start anything would give me the boundaries I need to get those done. And with that in mind, I decided to have 3 new starts before the end of this year to allow myself a few newer projects that felt more new start-ish during that time. I also wanted to set that time aside just in case I don't end up keeping up with all of my stitch-alongs at the end of the year. I have so far, but I'll have a lot of papers to write soon, and we'll be traveling some, and just holiday fun. So I want to kind of carve out that time also to wrap up those stitch-alongs and make sure they don't linger too long if I get behind in November and December. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about the 3 new starts that I've kind of arranged in my mind with that purpose, with that goal as the purpose of starting them. The first I already have shown on Flosstube, actually. It was when I was first kind of mulling over this idea. I started the His Name is Jesus pattern by Joyful Expressions, which I showed in my last video and on my Instagram, which is also Triple M stitching. Here's the cover photo though. I won't linger too long on this one because I have shown it, but I probably won't work on that anymore this year just because of the plans I already have, but kind of having it as an early in the starting process piece during my No New Starts challenge I think will feel good because I could pick it up, do a phrase easily when I need to in between some of my older WIPs. And then the second piece I plan on starting, I don't have really any of the materials for, which I need to change. It is from the Cross Stitcher magazine, March 2021. Sorry, I'm looking down, I was reading that. It is by Doreen Jones, who is one of my favorite designers, if you can't tell. And it is called Stitching Heaven, and it came from the magazine. It is a more, complicated and larger piece than I normally have done, but I've been enjoying her wreath so much, and I was really nervous about the amount of color changes and backstitch and stuff that I was hesitant to start the wreath, but then I did, and I love it. I love stitching that piece so much, even with all the details, so I was like, maybe I really like details, and I had seen this. I read all of the cross-stitch magazines on Libby, which is an app through my public library, and so I get like a notification when they come out, and I read this magazine in March, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, I love that, but I don't think I would like stitching it, but now I think I would like stitching it. So I don't know if anyone watches Call the Midwife. It is a show produced by the BBC, but here in the States, it's aired on PBS. I think you can watch it on Netflix and the PBS website. But one of the characters, Violet, owns, I'm not sure if she calls it a haberdashery or just like kind of like a notion store where you can buy fabric and ribbons and gifts and things. And so this kind of reminded me of her store in Call the Midwife, and that is one of my favorite shows. And if you watch The Legend of Korra, the shopkeeper girl here in the center kind of reminds me of Julie, if you watch that show. And so the combination of those two things and the colors, and there's a puppy and a kitty, and yeah, I love it. So I'm going to probably stitch this on like 28 count white even weave, but I don't think I have a piece big enough. So I'll need to order that. And then I need to comb through the floss list and my floss boxes and see what I need. But yeah, I'll probably, again, get like just a pretty small 1 or 2 day start on that between November and December, and then have it for my 90-day challenge in case I want to work on a piece with a lot of colors like this. So that's my third start. And then that's my second start. My third start will be, what did I do with it? I had it here. Here it is. Pretty Little Washington, D.C. by Satsuma Street. The university that we go to is the University of Maryland, which is pretty close to Washington, D.C. We can access D.C. through the metro here. And so I wanted to stitch this up before we left and have it to like take pictures of with when we go to the monument and stuff for the last time. I love the cherry blossoms. We were able to walk and see them last year on the tidal basin, and I think my husband also wants to work on this. He does also stitch, and I think next week I'll show some of his stitching along with mine. But he has mentioned interest in stitching this, and so I think I'll get it started pretty soon here, and then he and I both can work on it. He is working on something right now that probably will take a few more weeks, and then he might want to pick this up. So I think I'll go ahead and get a start in and have this too. And I do want to finish this before we leave here when he graduates, which will be in May. So that is my third start. And those are my starting plans for the end of the year and kind of my reasoning and how my wheels were turning when thinking about this no new starts for 90 days in the first chunk of 2022 there. So if anyone's interested in starting that, let me know. We can maybe get a group chat going or something like that. And if you hear of anybody else, I'd love to watch them if I'm not already. Yeah. So the final part of today's video will be stash acquisitions. I don't really have much to talk about in the way of books today. I'm still reading the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series. Everything I said last time still stands. I'm enjoying kind of how the author doesn't tell you everything up front, but reveals things through other characters' perspectives and whatnot. So yeah, I'll update more on books probably next time or even the next time, because this one is longer and I'm only halfway through. So the first thing I purchased, I only have a few, was this chart by Leisure Arts. It's leaflet 189, All Through the House, charted for cross stitch. I purchased this because my maternal grandmother stitched, and she passed away when I was, I think, 7, and so I didn't know her very well. But she did leave some of her stitching to my mom, and the main piece was this right here, this big cut-through house, and it has lots of different rooms, and it's rather large. It's on 14 count, and it always hung up in my mom's bedroom, and yeah, as a kid I was just fascinated with it, and I loved looking at it and looking at all the detail in the little rooms. And I saw someone on Facebook, a challenge group or something, was working on this chart and posted it, and I was like, that's the chart that goes with what my grandma stitched. And so I wanted to have it just because it went with that piece. It's framed and in my mom's apartment now. I think I'll be visiting her in November, so I'll try and take some footage of it and insert it into a video in November. But that is one of 2 houses that the pattern comes with. This is a different house. I believe this is the Victorian house, and this one is the early America house. And so I'd love to one day stitch the early America house to go with it. Yeah, and just to connect with my maternal grandmother, who I didn't know very well. The charts are rather large. Something fell out. They are pretty big. Like each room in the house gets its own page this size, so I think it'll be a pretty easy paper chart to use. This also came with it, which I thought was really interesting. I got this on eBay for not very much money. It is a receipt from Douglasville Frame and Print Shop in Douglasville, Georgia. It was a cross-stitch custom frame, and so I'm wondering if this is the receipt from someone who stitched this and then got it custom framed. yeah, that was kind of a super cool thing that was in here. It's dated 1987, so that was fun. Some of the pages are not attached with the staples anymore. I don't think they were ripped out. I think they've just fallen out. So I need to keep this one like this, but yeah. And then I was super lucky enough to win a giveaway on Instagram from Guac Lovers Stitchin'. Guac like guacamole, so Guac Lovers Stitchin'. And she was giving away a kit from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery for their Oh My Gourd piece, and it comes with the DMC and the Picture This Plus sand. I'll just need to get the chart, and I probably will next autumn and stitch this up. I love the sand fabric from Picture This Plus, and thank you so much. And yeah, I'm glad we connected, and yeah, a great stitchy friend to have. And then another stitchy friend reached out, and she was watching one of my first videos where I talked about a piece I was stitching on 28 count even weave from MCG Textiles. And she said she had some MCG textiles in her stash that she wasn't going to use, and offered to send them to me if I paid shipping, and I said of course. And it's actually a different kind than I have been stitching on. I really have been enjoying the 28 count even weave, and this is 32 count linen, which I know some people say isn't even, and it's not. The 28 count is perfectly even, but I don't really care. This, I'm stitching it on this, and I think it looks fine. I mean, it's like, if I stare at these stitches, I think they're a little taller maybe, but on a piece like this where it's not meant to be perfectly square, I don't really mind. And so I'm super grateful to have this in my stash, Sally. Thank you so much. It's from Sally Youn. I think it's pronounced Youn, but I don't want to assume, on Instagram. There's some natural and some oyster. So thank you so much. I am grateful to try a new type of linen. I'd only been using the 28 count even weave from MCG Textiles, so I've been enjoying using this. And yeah, glad to have it in my stash. I will remember to not use it for anything that I would like to fit in a square frame, like that's meant to be like a geometric square or something. But other than that, I don't really mind. I do really enjoy the even weave from them because it's pretty thick. I like the feel of like thick fabric in my hand. I don't know, but maybe thick isn't the right word. I don't know, but that's what I had in my stash for a long time, and so I've been using it. And I think it's not sold anymore in stores, but maybe on eBay. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this half hour with me, and I hope everyone has a great stitching week. I have my pottery class in like 2.5 hours, so I think I'm gonna work on my Nintendo Switch some, and yeah, just enjoy the time until pottery class, and I'll have to come back and do homework, which is not fun. But yeah, I'll see you all hopefully next week. I usually like to film on Saturdays, but this Saturday was the homecoming football game here, and I did not have time, and it was really loud in the frat house, so wouldn't have worked out anyway. But hopefully next Saturday I'll get to see you all again, and until then, happy stitching.